everything they desire and living a perfect life. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald was copyrighted in 1925 and describes the life of a man that experiences the American dream, love, and the reality of life. People come to America because of the American dream and what this country has to offer. But there are also the difficulties that come with it, which are expressed in The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby is told in the point of view of Gatsby's neighbor, and he tells of the events that happens in Gatsby's life. He is faced with social, financial, and relationship issues that make him do things that he wouldn't normally do. The novel is told with great detail, allowing you to imagine yourself in the story, which makes it easier to understand Gatsby's life. Chapter 2 of The Great Gatsby is a great example. About halfway between West Egg and New York, the motor road hastily joins the railroad and runs beside it for a quarter of a mile, so as to shrink away from a certain desolate area of land. This is a valley of ashes, a fantastic farm where ashes grow like wheat into ridges and hills, and grotesque gardens where ashes take the forms of houses and chimneys and rising smoke, and finally, with the transcendent effort of men who move dimly and already crumbling through the powdery air. Occasionally, a line of gray cars crawl along an invisible track, gives out a ghastly creak, and comes to rest, and immediately the ash-gray men swarm up with laden spades and stir up an impenetrable cloud which screens their obscure operations from your sight. But above the gray land and the spasms of bleak dust which drift endlessly over it, you perceive, after a moment, the eyes of Dr. T.J. Ecclesburg. The eyes of T.J. Ecclesburg are blue and gigantic. Their retinas are 1 yard high. They look out of no face, but instead from a pair of enormous yellow spectacles, which pass over a non-existent nose. Evidently, some wild wag of an oculist set there to fatten his practice of the borough of Queens, and then sank down himself into eternal blindness or forgotten them and moved away. But his eyes, dimmed a little by many paintless days under sun and rain, brood over the solemn dumping of ground. The Valley of Ashes is bounded on one side of a small foul river, and when the drawbridge is up to let barges through, the passengers on waiting trains can stare at the dismal scene for as long as in half an hour. There's always a halt there of at least a minute, and it was because of this that I first met Tom Buchanan's mistress.